Well, hello, Jose. I greet you from Santa Marta, and I will talk you about my experience reading The Unbearable Lightness of Being. Well, first of all, my experience reading the book was really good, although I know, I'm that kind of reader that loses his in his thoughts, like say that way. Like I'm reading, I have the pages of the book in my face right now, but I'm also thinking at the same time what will I have to do next after reading, about my homeworks or about my life in general. That makes that I can't understand the book. I can't understand what's happening in the story at the moment. So I have to repeat and repeat and repeat some parts. And, it's sometimes bothering for me. But I solved this problem with an audiobook. I use many audiobooks that help me focus on the story. And I found this really funny this funny audiobook of a British or Frenchman, I don't know, but he reads in such a sophisticated way that it's practically impossible for us readers to lose our like the track of what's happening in the story because he reads in such a strong way. Maybe I can describe it that way. Um, that is impossible, yes, to lose in the story. Also, regarding to the way Milan Kundera, the author, writes the book, I believe he uses very well the tool of the detail. His ability to describe every scene, like every part of the story, with such a detailed way, it's really amazing for us readers to understand what's happening in the story and what's happening in the situation of the book. I do believe that although he uses very well this tool, sometimes he exceeds in some parts. Some parts, for example, the erotic parts, the erotic situations with Thomas, he exceeds that tool of the detail, and it's kind of annoying sometimes. It's kind of awkward to read those parts, but I understand it's part of the essence of the book. It's part of the essence of Kundera's writing to use that amount of details. And now with the question of how could this novel enthrall my generation, I think this novel could enthrall my generation with like the main point of the story, the being, the motive of every person. This novel can be summarized in the phrase, that German phrase of "es muss sein," like it had to be. Every person has that "es muss sein" in his life, in his or her life, their life. And it's every person's job or duty to find that, because if you don't find like your essence, like your way of being, like your identity and purpose in this world, well then why are you living? Your life could be, well, pointless for you. Maybe you don't seem the a motive, a way to wake up every morning and work and do what you do, because if you don't have that purpose and that essence in yourself, well, your life could be very miserable. And also other topics, like for example the importance of freedom of expression in the situation that Thomas was living in the Russian invasion to Czech Republic. It's really important to understand the virtue we have as people to express what we feel and express and talk what we think and live in such a free way. Like imagine if you couldn't do that, it would be really, really awkward and sometimes really bad. For example, we can see in the novel Thomas, he couldn't, and he was persecuted by many people. His life was being torn apart by Russians and even by his people, by the Czechs, because he couldn't express what he thought, and he was silenced in some parts of way. Also topics like love, infidelities, betrayals, I think they are very, very, very important in our generation to understand. And yeah, that was all. Thank you, Jose.